Alright guys, today we're going to talk about least common multiple. When we talk about least common multiple, we are talking about the least or smallest common, meaning similar or same, alright, multiple. Alright? Now, when we talk about the least common multiple, what we're talking about is the least non-zero number that is a multiple of a number. So, meaning that number times 1. Okay? So, when we're looking for least common multiple, let's go away from least common multiple right now, and let's just talk about multiples. Now, everybody knows with the number 2, okay, so let's use the number 2. It's one of the most famous ones that we use. We learn it when you're growing up, whether it's odd or even. Alright, for this, we're going to go with our even numbers that we learned when we were growing up, but those are also going to be the multiples of 2. And when I'm saying multiple, alright, I'm saying 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, 2 times 4, and so on. Now the multiples, when we talk about the multiples, we're talking about that number times or multiplied by 1, multiplied by 2, multiplied by 3. So the multiples of 2 are 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8. Those are our multiples. Now I can do this with any number. If I wanted to take 2 off and switch it to 3, then I would have 3, 6, 9, and 12. Right? So those are what we're talking about when we talk about multiples. Now, when we're in a scenario where we're trying to find the least common multiple, well, if it's common, then what do we have to have? We have to have 2 numbers to find the multiples of. So, we use 2, so let's use a different one. Now, my favorite for this is probably, I like 3 and 4. And let me change up our color scheme here so we can get our different colors in. So, let's go 3 and 4. Okay, so when we're talking about the multiples of 3 and 4, so 3 times 1 is 3, alright? 3 times 2 would be 6. 3 times 3 would be 9. 3 times 4 is 12, right? 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. And 3 times 8 is 24. And 3 times 9 is 27. Alright? Now you may be saying to yourself, I already know it, Mr. Hearn. I already know it. That's fine. But I want to go ahead and go through the process so we can talk about it. So let's do our multiples of 4. So 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times, what's next? Yep. 4 times 7 is 28. And 4 times 8 is 32. And 4 times 9 is 36. Alright? So those are our multiples of 3 and 4 all the way down to 9. And obviously we did 10, we'd have 30 and 40. Now, what I want you to do is, I want you to go back and find our common multiples, alright? I know this is a laborious process. I know it takes a little time. But guys, this is the easiest way to do it. Write out your multiples, alright? And for those of you that struggle, look, I'm just adding 3 every time. I'm adding 4 every time because that's how multiplication works. Alright? So now, let's go back and let's find our common multiples, alright? So, starting from the bottom, working my way up, I see 24 here, and I see 24 here. Alright? I'm going to work my way on up. 21 and 24, 18, 20, 15, 16, no. And then I've got 12 and 12. 9, 8, 6, 4, 3. No other common multiples. Now, remember, let's go back to what we're talking about. We're talking about the least common multiple. Right? Least meaning what? Least meaning smallest. So we want to go back and circle our least common multiple. Alright? So that's, yeah, even though we had 2 common multiples. Now, I can also do this with 3 numbers. Let's say I have 6. And I'm using 6 because 6 is easy because 6 times 2 is 12, right? 6 times 3 is 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54. Okay, and then I can go in and I can see that 6 also has the common multiples of 24 and 12. Okay, now we see there that it's a common multiple. So now if I had a list of 3 numbers, like 3, 4, and 6, I can see that my least being the key word here, folks, least common multiple of 3, 4, and 6 is 12. All right? I want you guys to look at it, think about it over tonight. If you have any questions, come in tomorrow. The homework's got a lot of these. We'll do 2 digits and 3 digits. They'll ask you to find the least common multiple of. Now, when you do get those worded questions, how do we apply real-world use? Okay? They're going to give you two numbers. I don't want to say times because that gives away the homework question. But they're going to give you 2 numbers and they're going to ask you when will they meet. Okay? Or when will they be at the same. All right? Being common. Those are those words that we look for in those word questions. So they'll say something like, if train A and train B leave at 4 o'clock and one's going every 6 minutes and one's going every 8 minutes, when will they meet at the same time? All right? So that is a way, folks, for you, that's your real world application when you're trying to figure out exactly how does least common multiple work in my life. Anytime that we can run the multiples up, we're trying to find that smallest time, right? Because you don't want to wait forever if you're waiting on a train, right? So this is a way to look at that. And you'll see, homework gives some great examples of this, so I'm not really going to get into too much detail because I want you guys to work on it and see where that puts you. All right? Okay, that's least common multiples. Tomorrow we'll do greatest common factors.